Good afternoon everyone, Chef Dan from Dan's Kitchen. Today I'm going to make something a little easier than, again, from what I would normally make. Alright, so today I'm going to make cream of pumpkin soup. A nice and easy dish, but it's not part of my basics class. No. So firstly, I'm going to be using these special knives that my beautiful girl bought for me for my birthday, and I'm also wearing my apron that she got me for Christmas. Now, so firstly what we're going to do is, if I can find it, right, just one onion, and we're going to finely chop that. I always chop the onions first because, you know, they will make you cry, and I want to get that, you know, over and done with as soon as possible. Big knife for the veggies. Okay. So cut that in half. I'm using Gordon Ramsay's technique. Like, cut the onion in half, leave the bulb. Not sure if it's entirely effective though. Apologies to Chef Ramsay, but yeah, it still makes you cry. Whether it makes you cry or not doesn't matter, because that technique is a bloody good way of you know, chopping up your onions. So again, you know, like cutting into thin bits, but not all the way through. Just get as close as you can to the, but yeah, again, look at Gordon Ramsay's YouTube video about the basics, and yeah, it'll tell you how to do it properly. Business somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, sorry folks, pot full of water was boiling. Just turn down the heat. Just want to time it right when, you know, all the ingredients are chopped up, so I'm not waiting until, you know, because I'm trying to you know, be as, you know, quick and efficient as I can, because I like to go at my own pace, but yeah, I'm trying to challenge myself to go quicker. Actually, that time wasn't too bad. My eyes aren't really watering. Unless I speak too soon. I think I might have spoken too soon there, folks, but yeah. It's not as bad as it usually is. So. Okay. Get all the onion into this bowl. Let's set this aside. Spoken too soon there. Now it's really starting to kick in. Jinx it there, folks. Okay. What I'm going to do now is chop up the pumpkin. So, yeah, this is butternut pumpkin. It's what's commonly used. Like with the preparation of mini pumpkin soups. There's a bit of plastic on there. That one. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so I need approximately like 500 grams of this. If you go over a little bit, that should be fine. Don't have to be exact or precise. Alright, so just cut around the seeds there and scoop them out. Okay, and just check for any more seeds. God, these things are slippery. Let's just throw these out. I don't need them. You can also maybe use the Japanese pumpkins or the Kent pumpkins. Kentish pumpkins, whatever the hell they like to call them, but don't use the Queensland blue pumpkin. It is bitter. Well, the last time I had it anyway, it tasted bitter, so best to avoid that one. Right, now we turn this over, all like that, and we're gonna shave off the skin. Just like with like when you're shaving, when guys have a shave, like yeah, except we have a more efficient blade in this day and age. In the olden days they had you know, it was like a knife, and they a carving knife they used, something similar, like at barber shops. Just keep doing that. Damn, onions make me sniffle again. Not many people like working with onions, but it's a necessity for most dishes. Still making me sniffle. But I'm not. Oh, I'm not sick. Okay, I'm not. I don't have COVID or anything. Okay, now once we've shaved off the skin, we are going to cut it up into small pieces, but not too thick. So maybe something like that size. Okay. And I've got here my measuring scale, just to make sure that I've got half a kilo on there, or 500 grams. Okay, so try to cut the pieces as small as you can get it, but not like chopped, like I did with the onions. Don't need to go that small, but small enough so that when we put it in the blender, that it doesn't get stuck in there, and then you gotta help it through. 260 grams. Still got a ways to go. Right, so I've got 338 grams in the scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to carve off the skin of this one. And I'm sure you guys don't want to see me carve that again, as it's time consuming. See it there. Alright, so so now I've shaved off the skin of the other half. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop these on here. Otherwise this scale gets confused. Right. So put them back in here. To me, this looks so much like rock melon or cantaloupe, depending on where you're from. Yeah, they have different names for rock melon. Okay, so we're at 425. Still need to chop this up. So one more. I like to add just a tad more pumpkin than usual. Okay, that should do it. Now with the remainder of this pumpkin, I'm going to set aside. Alright, so what I've done here is fill up a saucepan with water And with this particular saucepan, this is a larger one, so I've got filled it up 3/4 of the way, because if I fill it up any more, it's going to boil over. Well, it's likely to boil over, and yeah, it's going to put out that flame, which is what we do not want. Okay. We want a rolling boil here, so it's almost happening. Alright, there we go. Now we're just going to very carefully put the pumpkin into the saucepan, being very careful, not to scald yourself from if or when the water splashes. Okay, so we're going to leave that to boil for roughly 10 odd minutes, or until the pumpkin is soft enough that it glides through the fork. Right, so while we are waiting for the pumpkin to boil, we are going to get 2 tablespoons of butter, or 30 grams, that works out to be. Too much, that's 53, 30. So what I do with the butter is I'm just gonna chop it up so it's easy to melt, like so. Alright, and now we wait for the pumpkin to finish boiling. Okay, now it's been about 10 odd minutes. I'm going to see if they're cooked enough. Ooh. Be careful not to burn yourself. You know what? I'm going to place a piece on a plate. Okay, a couple minutes more I reckon. Still feels a tad bit firm, but we don't want to overcook it. Alright, so it's cooked enough. I'm going to switch off the heat, and we are going to drain the water. Okay, into this colander. Shake that about. now with a blender. Got this all ready to go. I'm going to pour in very gently the pumpkin. This is so it doesn't fall out. I'm being very careful here. Right. The lid. Okay, now I'm gonna set it to 2. And always make sure to keep your hand on top of the blender at all times. There we go, it's starting to liquefy a bit. If you don't do this, you're likely to end up with a bloody big mess. Hearing it stutter a bit means that it's starting to purify the solid bits. In this instance, not all of it has been pureed, so I'm gonna mix it a bit, try and help it through. This is likely to happen on several occasions when you make these kind of dishes, folks, so don't worry, pretty little heads. I thought that may help. Just shaking it a bit. Alright, let's give that a bit of a stir. Alright, so it's not high enough as it's going to squirt everywhere, so do that again. It's still quite lumpy. See how nice and smooth it's been pureed down to? That's exactly what we want. Now, this means we can get started on this. So what I'm going to do is put it on full. And add the 30 grams of butter, and we're going to let it melt. So remember, with cooking with butter, I love that smell. Sorry, I had to have a sniff. Just keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn, and slosh it around so any solid bits of the butter liquefy. And what do we do next? Okay. Now we are going to saute the onions that we chopped earlier. Just going to lower the heat to medium. And we're going to saute until transparent. Yeah, so about they say about 5 or so minutes, but yeah, don't want to burn them too much. I mean, if they're a bit brown, that's fine. Not exactly burnt, just cooked like you'd put in a hamburger, like from the fish and chip shop or the Aussie burger. Cooked onions go well with burgers. So stir quite often to stop burning, and that doesn't stick to the saucepan. So I just had to check messages. Okay, we want these onions to be like soft and tender. We'll get it to soft and tender best we can. Love the smell of cooked onions. Don't like chopping them up, but I love to smell them when they're being cooked. we go. Just charging up the camera as well. This battery was a bit low. Alright, so I'd say that's about done. Right. Now we are going to add 2 tablespoons of plain flour. One, 2. 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add half a teaspoon, sorry, of black pepper. Don't want to add too much pepper, otherwise it'll be too peppery. So now we're going to give that a stir. So I did that once. I put in a bit too much pepper. It was very peppery. Once that's blended in, we are going to add 3 cups of milk. But we're going to stir it in gradually, pouring very slowly, otherwise it's not going to thicken properly and it'll ruin the soup. So see how slowly I'm doing it? Better safe than sorry. So I'm just doing it a tad slower than most. So I want to get this right. That's 1. So while we're stirring, we're still pouring the milk in very slowly. Pepper was making me sneeze there, folks, but don't worry, I covered my nose and I braced myself, so no contamination there. It's 2, and I'm going to add 1 more cup. Recipe says 2 cups, but I like to add a 3rd cup because it just it doesn't feel like a soup. It's like that thick that you like eating yogurt. As thick as yogurt, you know, like the consistency. So just keep stirring, slowly adding the milk. Okay, now that's the last cup. So you got your 3 cups in there. You could stir. I'm going to slowly kick the heat up a bit. So any thick bits that appear on the spoon, just bang it off like that, and it'll mix in with the liquid. Okay, I'm going to keep stirring until it's thickened a bit, or if or that the mixture coats the spoon. This can be quite a lengthy process, folks, but you know, concentration and a bit of patience, you'll have yourself a really, really lovely dish. In this case, the soup. Yeah, pumpkin soup, you know, is a very common thing to have, especially on cold winter nights, on nice cold days. Nothing like a nice bowl of soup to warm the soul. Okay, so yeah, people have it in the summer though, or even if it's hot weather. Oh, there's a soup that I intend to make in the near future, vichyssoise. Yeah, it's a French potato and leek soup served cold. Yeah, getting there, starts to feel a bit thick. Okay, I've just brought it to the boil, see if that makes a difference. And I'll set the heat to simmer. Oh yeah, see, that's now coated the spoon. Time to add the pumpkin puree. So I'm using a rubber spatula here, because it's easier to get scrape out all the stray bits of puree from the jug, from the blender. Okay, we want to try and get out as much as we can. It's very important that we do. You're not going to get every single morsel out, but try your best. Still bubbling away there. Got enough in there. We're gonna stir the puree into the soup, and it's gonna turn a nice yellowy orangey colour, like a creamish colour. Yeah, like that. Like my sister's favourite colour, orange. Any pale bits, stir thoroughly, like that. And there you have it, folks. You've got your pumpkin soup. Found a bit of the puree that we can still put in. Extra, switch the heat off, and it's done. Now we're going to get a bowl and scoop it up with the ladle. So this particular bowl, I'm putting in about 3.5 scoops. Alright, so now what I've done is I prepared some toast, because we're going to make some croutons. I've got some nice brown bread here. Yeah, because I prefer the brown to the white. There we go. Just cut it into sticks like soldiers, and then cut again, like that. So we're cutting it into tiny squares, and there's your croutons. Okay, so we're going to put the croutons in with the soup. And there you have it, folks. Nice hot bowl of cream of pumpkin soup. Enjoy!